It's persimmon season, yay! And my mother's single tree produced over 250 persimmons this year. Persimmons have the botanical name of Diospyros, and there are 15 species of Diospyros. Here on the west coast, we typically have one. It's the Diospyros Kaki, or Japanese or Asian persimmon. The kaki is actually the Japanese national fruit, and there are hundreds of varieties. On the west coast, we typically have two. We have the Fuyu and the Hachiya. They're easy to tell apart because the Fuyu looks like a tomato. It's flat on the bottom, and the Hachiya looks heart-shaped. The Fuyu can be eaten raw, unlike the Hachiya, which you can try to eat raw, but see the beautiful meat inside, the beautiful star? You can also let these get mushy like the Hachiya, but I really like to eat these raw. Mmm, yum. The unripened Hachiya is inedible because of the tannins make it so astringent that you cannot eat it. It's probably a defense mechanism to keep the animals from eating it until it turns ripe. But we can make the tannins become neutralized by dehydrating, and that's what I'm going to do with this Hachiya here. First I'm going to cut out the calyx, and I intentionally used a persimmon with a dark spot on it because people sometimes think it's bad, and it's really not at all. See the large black spot on that one? And I'm going to peel it. I think it's better to peel it because even after you dehydrate it, there's still a few tannins, mostly in the skin. But as you can see, when you peel it, it looks just like the rest of it. This black spot is really more like hair color or something. It has no effect on the quality of the fruit at all. It's just, I think the birds like it too, because maybe they know something we don't. They see a little bird peck right there. But you don't, like I said, you don't have to peel these. I just found I like it better peeled. And then you just put them on the slicer, slice it. And then you get these beautiful slices that you can just put out on your dehydrator sheet. And you might find some seeds. Looks like there might be a seed right there. No, it's not a very... Oh, and I've seen this getting a little bit soggy, and I'm telling you, if they're too soggy, they're going to just stick to the mesh of your screen. It's going to be really hard to clean it afterwards, so make sure if they're the soft kind, we're going to do something else with them when they turn ripe. But when they're hard, just put them on the dehydrator sheets and dehydrate them either on the raw or the regular siding. The raw is 105 degrees or 41°C. And then, voila, you get these lovely dehydrated persimmon chips. They are just loaded with vitamins, but they also have sugar, so take it a little bit easy on it. And they have the usual, because of the color, they're going to have lycopene and zeaxanthin, lutein, and I have a list on my website, so you can go there and see what's inside them. They're a good source of manganese, but they're just a delicious treat. They're just like bursting with flavor. I wanted to show you how beautiful they look on the sheets. Some of these turned out like a sand dollar to me. Here's a real sand dollar that I collected from Venice Beach, California. It looks like that, beautiful sand dollar. And they're so tempting. You just really want to eat them, don't you? But if you do, if you want to try, make sure you're over next to the sink because you will spit this out. The tannins are so strong in here. Tannin management is a big deal in making red wines. And you order extra dry wine. It's really more about the mouth feel. Well, these, in their raw state like this, are like an extra dry wine on steroids, like times 1,000. It's way, 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 way too dry. So that's why we dehydrate them. Now for the ripe Hachiya, you can see the difference in the unripe one and the ripe one. It's just real squishy, like a really soft tomato, and it's brighter red. So to get the meat out of this, you cut the calyx out. Comes out pretty easy because it's really soft. And then you cut the persimmon in half. And then scoop it out. I'm going to show you how to make roll-ups, from fruit leather roll-ups, and also, of course, my favorite, ice cubes. So I'm going to get this in here and then blend it. There we go. You can see how the meat was, oh, there was a seed. Yeah, you have to watch for seeds. There's a seed there. Okay, I'm glad there was a seed, so I remembered to tell you. And then you blend it. Okay, first I'm going to make some persimmon ice cubes. My usual thing here. I love these ice cubes. They're so handy. You know, just pour a little in each one. And then when you want to make a smoothie, you just grab some of your ice cubes. So anyway, you get the idea there. I'm going to do the rest later. And then I'm also going to show you how to make a fruit roll. This is the dehydrator sheet. I just have this food grade plastic here. And I'm just going to be lazy and just pour a big blob of it in the middle. Like that. And then I'm going to just shake it a little. That's all I'm going to do. Now, I'm just going to put that in the dehydrator like that and make my fruit rolls. I want to show you the easy way to get these off of the mesh. You just I just put my fingers underneath like that and see how it kind of lifts it up like that. I also wanted to show you what happens when you don't leave space between the two. They get glued together. So you do, when you put them on the trays, you want to make sure that there's space between them. Now I want to show you what we did with the fruit roll-ups. It's the same technique. You just get under it and you kind of bend this like this, and it will just peel right off. Here are my beautiful sand dollar persimmon chips, finished. Aren't they lovely? And here are the roll-ups. I made some little cutesy bits out of the side here. All you have to do is cut this with scissors. Cuts real easy, but this one probably doesn't lend itself to a roll-up. You could roll it up, but instead I cut out the little hearts and stuff just to give you some ideas of what you might want to do. But more traditional is to just cut this into strips and roll them up. Most people make bigger ones, but I think of these as candy, so I don't personally like to have a big roll-up. This is more than enough sugar for me. They're very sweet. And there you have it for the roll-ups. And I wanted to tell you about another persimmon variety or species that's wild, it's indigenous to the United States. It's the Diospyros virginiana, and it actually grows wild on the East Coast, and I've never had one, but I'd really like to. I've heard that people say they're even better than these, it's kind of hard to believe because these are so delicious. But someday on the East Coast, I hope to have one of those. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to freeze these, and they will freeze through the winter, and then I can have sorbet, or you can make persimmon ice cream, or other things you can do with these. They actually get ripe in about 2 days if you put them in the freezer. I have had these for a year. One time I left them in the refrigerator and they were fine. I used them in smoothies. So in the summer, I'll see you again with a recipe for persimmon sorbet. You can see more recipes and more information on my website at dianalehua.com.